Good morning.
Morning.
That's a good stretch.
I was in the middle of stretching.
Yeah.
This is one of those days where just look, if you don't have to work, you're already in the middle of your week off for Christmas, that kind of thing. I mean, stay in bed, pull the colors up, look outside, and be like, nope. Thank you very little. I'll be right here. Look at this.
That. Yeah.
Put on your Hallmark Christmas movies, kick back, enjoy your cup of coffee.
Do you guys have the Hallmark Christmas movies going at the house?
My wife has seen all of them,
Every
probably
one of
multiple
them.
times.
Exactly
all
right.
the same actors. They're all interchangeable.
Yes.
It's
Well,
roughly
as
same
are the plot
storyline.
lines.
Exactly right.
Yep.
That's like a running joke on TikTok. Like, yeah, it's everybody's got those 3 degrees going back to their hometown, trying to set up a bed and breakfast, but don't know. But I will go home today and turn on the TV. It'll Hallmark will be on there again.
Consistency is nice.
Exactly right.
Yes.
So you know what? Here's wishing you nothing but that kind of comfort TV.
Oh, I love it.
There you go.
I love it. Perfect weather for it. I tell you what, cuddle up with a nice cup of hot cocoa and
Yep.
stay inside and do all that.
Yeah, today, even as ugly as it is, not so bad. I don't know if it's going to be comforting when we talk about the weekend temps.
You're right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty gloomy outside again this morning. We've got some showers passing through as expected. Now, these are generally pretty light, but there you see it on First Alert Doppler radar. Everything kind of moving west to east right now. Bringing in a little bit closer. They're kind of, I'm not sure what happened there, dotted around Metro Baton Rouge. There we go. So you'll see them just kind of moving through throughout the morning. You'll get these little bursts of some light rain, maybe a break here and there, but overall just kind of ugly. That sums it up. Our Sky9 camera in Port Allen, the clouds, the wetlands there from the showers moving on through, and it's chilly once again. 49 degrees in Baton Rouge, 47 New Roads, as cool as 42 Macomb. Most of us, though, mid to upper 40s to around 50. I don't think we're going to really budge much here through the morning as we continue to see these little showers passing through. And then even into the afternoon, temperatures maybe only into the low 50s, because even once the rain exits, which shouldn't be too long after lunch for most of us, to show you in a moment, still going to have plenty of clouds. Might get a few breaks in some neighborhoods. Get a little sun. Consider yourself lucky. Run out and enjoy it while it's around, because next couple of days, not a lot of sun. All right, so here's future radar showing those showers continuing to pass through about lunchtime. Baton Rouge eastward. West of Baton Rouge, rain's winding down a little bit later on this morning. But there you see, shortly after lunch, everything exits to the east, and hints of a few breaks in the clouds, but we'll call it at least mostly cloudy into the afternoon. And you see how the temperatures don't move a whole lot in the model, and then the clouds fill back in this evening and for tonight. That will continue into late tonight, tomorrow morning, and tomorrow. Tomorrow will be dry, but it looks like plenty of clouds. Continue to give you the heads up, the first alert to that bitter cold that is expected for Christmas weekend. That's the European model. We got an updated run, came in a couple hours ago from the overnight. One little thing to note here is it's slightly slower with the arrival of the front. We'll see if that trend continues or if it's just a one-off in this particular run. But ultimately, Thursday evening, it's actually pretty mild. Look at this, 6 o'clock Thursday, we're in the 60s, but here comes the front moving on through. Now, the prior run that was showing on 9 News this morning actually had Baton Rouge down to about 30 degrees by midnight, headed into Friday. You'll note the 41. That's not really a reflection of the air being any warmer behind this front. It's just the slower arrival in this particular model run. So again, we'll keep an eye on that, see if it keeps up. The main impact from that would be that would lessen the likelihood that maybe we make it down below 20 around Metro Baton Rouge. It's still going to be awfully cold, though. So we'll see. I've got upper teens to low 20s for most of us by Friday morning. And then when you factor in what will be a very strong northerly wind behind the front, you see how widespread wind chill values in the single digits are expected. So I'm guessing here from the Weather Service, usually have to get within a couple of days. Probably start to see a hard freeze watch maybe posted tomorrow. We'll see a wind advisory at some point. We will see a wind chill advisory to deal with this multitude of hazards we're going to see from the cold weather. So here are the numbers on it. Ultimately, right now I've got the low on Friday in Baton Rouge down to 19. Again, some of that's going to depend on when exactly the front moves in. If it slows a little slower, then it's more likely maybe we're in the low to mid 20s, but going to be very cold. And Friday's highs near north of the interstates may not make it above freezing. So that prolongs the number of hours we're at or below freezing. Christmas Eve morning, I've got us down to 17 in Baton Rouge, a high of 37. At least we get above freezing, but it is going to stay cold. And then Christmas morning down to 19, a high of 43, so a little warmer. Not going to be ideal for the kids opening the gifts from Santa in the morning. If you get a bike or something outside to maybe run out and play with it, it'll get a little more tolerable by the afternoon as we at least hit the 40s. Also do note though, keeping it dry. We're not really expecting winter precipitation. So here are a few things you could be doing right now. Maybe not right this moment with the showers passing through, but when it dries out this afternoon, if you haven't already done this, go check on your pipes outside. If they're not wrapped or protected, go ahead, take care of that. Make sure you cover the faucets as well. And one thing to do between now and Thursday night, your hoses. Good idea to disconnect those and at minimum stick them in your garage or somewhere like that, because chances are if you've used it recently, there's going to be some residual water in the line there. And as temperatures freeze, what does water do? It expands. Unlike most liquids, it expands when it freezes. And so we have to watch out for that. Hoses will sometimes break if you're not looking out for it. So another little tip to keep in mind. Something else, be careful with how you heat your home. I'm assuming, Matt and Liz, you going to talk about fires here at all? Yeah, they're going to talk about fires coming up in a little bit. We had a couple of overnight fires reported. Could be tied, at least one we think tied to maybe a fireplace. So be careful with heating your home. Space heaters. Try to avoid the extension cords. Don't leave them on overnight. That's easy to say and maybe not so easy to do, right? But you're not supposed to leave them on overnight or unattended. If you're going to buy a space heater, one feature to look for that a lot of them, even the ones that aren't terribly expensive now have built in, but look for it, is a tip over feature. To where if that space heater gets accidentally knocked over, tipped over, it shuts off automatically. So that's a good feature to look for. And then finally, now is a great time. You can do this right now, even with the nasty weather outside. Inside, make sure you've got working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, okay? Real important. Carbon monoxide detectors, even though it's not terribly expensive. My new home, I had a combination smoke and carbon monoxide. The detector went off one morning. I didn't know if it was detecting smoke or carbon monoxide, so I went and bought 2 carbon monoxide detectors. Got a 2-pack for like $30, okay? And real important, give you a digital readout so that you know if there's something going on. All right, so rain's ending this afternoon. Clouds, cool but dry tomorrow. Thursday actually climbs into the upper 60s ahead of that front. A few showers, nothing wintry in terms of precipitation, and then the bottom drops out. We talked about the weekend temperatures. One thing of note here is I've got at least 3 hard freezes Friday, Saturday, Sunday mornings. Might squeeze out a 4th in some neighborhoods Monday morning. I've got us down to the mid-20s, so right on the cusp of what we consider a hard freeze. But beyond that, next week, we will finally start to warm up, guys.
Oof, at least it'll be somewhat sunny, that cold stretch of hard freeze days, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're outdoors, at least, you know, the air temperature we report's measured in the shade, so you can add a little bit onto those very cold numbers if you're in direct sunlight.
I'll just be balmy then.
Yeah.
Just ready to go. It's short sleeve kind of weather out there.
I'm telling you, everybody ask for the cold weather. You
got it.
Yeah, we certainly did, man. Came in with absolute force. Cap, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And look, you know, Steve was talking about heating these homes safely, and yeah, we do start to see more house fires, home fires, apartment fires as the winter shows up, as these days get colder, these weeks, these months, and we don't officially know if any of these fires, you know, came from any kind of heating method. We will say one of the 2 fires that was worked this morning in Baton Rouge, our crew on scene, homeowner said he believes actually the fire started in the fireplace.
Let's get you a look at those 2 scenes. It was a busy morning
Truly
for Baton
was.
Rouge firefighters trying to blaze this in the middle of this cold snap that we're getting here. So let's start that first one. It's on the 10,000 block of Ruse Fringe Drive.
Right.
That's kind of near Old Hammond Highway.
Yeah, sure.
So we got called out there 1:30 this morning, and you can see that steam coming off the road where that house looked to be kind of fully inflamed there.
Yeah, and there's not and what they're saying is actually, according to investigators, there was ammunition
That's
going
the
off.
Harding home.
Is that the Harding home?
Yeah, that's the Harding house.
I thought that was the very first one this morning.
Ruse Fringe?
I thought that was the
might
first,
be.
the very
They came in
first house.
together.
Because the second one on Harding is was that the second fire this morning, Harding?
Yes.
Yeah, and so well, one of these homes had possibly ammunition going off, and it was that delayed kind of their tactics with fighting the fire, and that's a lot going on for firefighters to deal with.
Yeah.
And so again, the investigation is continuing there.
And
But
when you think about that, you read in the press release, it says ammunition going off. At first, my instinct was, okay, imagine you're a firefighter,
Right,
you
what
go
the
to the scene,
heck?
is someone shooting at you? And then you take a second, you
Right.
realize what's happening. There's ammunition in the home that's going
Right.
off because of a fire. That's a really scary thing, and then you can't even respond to it because you don't know what else is inside of that home.
No, it is.
That's crazy.
We could hear them, and we don't report a lot of scanner traffic for good reason.
Right.
Nothing is official out of there. We don't do that when it comes to police reporting here or there, kind of thing. But you can hear these guys talking about it over the scanner, talking about, look, this is a defensive attack of this fire. They can't be as offensive as they want because they don't know if these bullets are going to fly their way. That's a lot to deal with, and so we do start to see these fires pop off more. As these winter months show up in the cold weather, just be careful as possible. 2 investigations going off this morning.
That's it. We'll keep you posted once we learn
Crazy.
the official
Yeah.
cause there.
Well,
Ooh.
this is from yesterday,
Yeah.
shooting yesterday, but new information this morning, a victim identified.
So you remember maybe the crews at night telling you about a shooting at an
Mm-hmm.
apartment complex at the Broadmoor Plantation apartment complex. That's there off of what? Florida Boulevard,
Yep.
not far from Sharp. So we had heard at the time that one person was shot there, and then we were told this morning, Baton Rouge police confirming the victim there, 21-year-old Timothy Chapman is the victim involved.
Yeah.
We were told that he was shot during possibly an attempted robbery
Yeah.
at this time, but that's all we know right now. We don't know the potential suspect, a description of a potential suspect, or a name. That's something where police are hoping that you can help fill in the blanks.
You know the number.
Yeah.
It's the one that we throw out there all the time simply because it works. So it's Crime Stoppers 344 stop. And you'll sometimes hear us say you don't have to give your name. Let's rephrase that. You won't have to give your name. They never want to know your name. They don't want to know who you are. This is 100% completely anonymous.
Yeah.
So it's not that you don't have to give your name, you won't. Again, 344 stop, possibly eligible for that cash reward.
Any little detail.
Anything,
can help.
any at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that number is going to be really handy for this
no
one as
kidding.
well. So on Sunday, a beauty supply store off of Airline
Mm-hmm.
Highway was robbed. And
Right.
so authorities now, the Capital Region Crime Stoppers, needing your help trying to identify these individuals because that wasn't the only incident there.
No, it wasn't.
An employee
Right.
injured here.
Exactly. So this is not one of those things where they just came in, stole some stuff, and got out.
No.
They came in and, according to authorities, assaulted one of the employees there, injured with all of this. So
Yeah.
this becomes just a little bit more than a robbery. This turns into aggravated
Yes.
when you're talking about things that went on during the course of a crime. And so they're trying to figure out who these folks are.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the number to dial is going to be simple. It's Crime Stoppers at 344 stop, but they would very much like to figure out who these folks are.
Yeah.
And again, the investigation kind of continues. And then you obviously you're thinking about the employee who was kind of at the center of this too.
Critical condition
Yeah,
at last
right?
check. And
So-
so we're going to keep tabs on that person's condition. And again, if you could help them figure out who these individuals are, go ahead and call Crime Stoppers. That anonymous tip could be huge.
It really could be.
Yeah.
It could be. Okay, let's switch all this up,
Yes.
please. That's a lot going on there.
Yes.
There's a lot of good in our community, and we
Yes.
like to showcase that, certainly during the holidays. When we talk about that season of giving, all the giveaways going on, our digital team really kind of breaks it down pretty well.
From turkeys to toys to essential needs
Yes.
to clothes
Yes.
to coats to shoes. There are all kinds of things being given away.
Yeah.
The community comes together when it
Always.
comes to pulling together and doing some good. And this is going to be the hub for
Yeah.
all things good, all things giveaways, starting from today to tomorrow. There's a lot going on.
Oh, it's
Cleo
a big
Field's
list.
annual Christmas turkey giveaway.
like 1,000 of them.
I know, that's a lot of
turkeys.
turkeys. Jinx, you owe me a soda. Or do you owe me a turkey?
We owe you
I'll
a
take
turkey.
a soda.
We owe you a turkey. And apparently they're going to have a lot of them out
Yes.
there. But yeah, it's just, it's great to see that level of give
Yeah.
in the community. You know the heart of this of South Louisiana. You see it all the time. But it's good to see this level of give during the holiday season.
And you better be sure as we roll into the new year, a lot of that giving heart will continue to be there. So keep that gravy train rolling.
Oh.
We're going to keep this story updated as we learn more about more events because they're popping up left
are.
and right, I
They
feel
are.
like.
Right.
Ooh, and we'll try to go over them for you here on WAFB Plus.
Gravy train.
Because there's a lot going on in our part of the world.
There is.
You know?
There is a lot going on in our part of the world. And one thing that I wanted to talk about that's not going on in our part of the world that you actually may see a little bit later on today, Joy for Argentina. They have their World Cup champions back in town.
Yeah.
And they have, Liz, we talked about it on the morning show, they declared a national holiday, like the entire country. We were talking about it as well. It's like, you know, it's one thing when the Saints win, we went crazy. Like when the Tigers win, we went crazy. It's an entire country celebrating. I'm sure you've seen some of the video coming out of there. We're going to dig into that here in a quick second.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I'm so sorry we jumped over that
No,
story because I got so excited.
Well, we're going to talk more about it here in a second.
Yeah,
because
we
it is
are.
that kind of fun. And I know Steve is a gigantic football fan.
Yeah.
Football meaning soccer.
Sorry, let me
Well, there we go.
bring my mic. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I jumped a
all,
story. I
all
got
about
excited.
the foosball.
All about the football.
Well, it's a universal sport.
That
which
is a
awesome.
great commercial.
I look
from Peyton Manning and
Oh my
Beckham.
gosh.
Yes.
It's hilarious,
Yeah.
the football and the soccer thing. But yeah, anyway.
I was kind of disappointed. Actually, I missed the World Cup final. We had my in-laws coming in Sunday, so it was a busy day getting the house ready and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I flipped on TV, see 3-3 and
Yeah.
penalty kicks and all that. You know, that's pretty exciting.
My
epic
house went
fashion.
nuts.
Yeah.
My kids were going crazy.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to watch. And you realize what it means. And again, lifelong Saints fan, standing right next to you.
Yeah.
Huge, right? So when you get to take off that paper bag from the Aints days and they make their way to the Super Bowl and they win the dang thing, that is passion coming out from like decades, right? Take that and amplify it countrywide. And it's the world's game. We like to talk about our football.
Yeah.
This is the world's football. Look at Buenos Aires.
That's unreal.
Are you
mean,
kidding? We've seen crowds, but
yeah.
guys, that is insane.
I know.
That looks like Mardi Gras in New Orleans on steroids.
All of it. Right, exactly. I mean, every party you've ever been to combined.
I mean, Matt made a good point. When you think about fan bases and how passionate they are, I think about when the Blackhawks won the first Stanley Cup, right? You had not first, when they won it again more recently in the last decade. Streets were packed, people were climbing light poles, the zoo, every inch of street was just packed with people. You couldn't go anywhere. All the trains were blocked, all the city buses were blocked, and it looked like this in just one city. So when you talk about it on a national scale, this is a point of pride for so many Argentinians, not only in the country, but around the world.
It's the one thing too. I know, like, not everybody loves sports, and sometimes sports can even be divisive, depending on what's going on. I don't know of many things in the world that bring people together like sports.
You're right. Yes. It's
I remember
a celebration.
Post 9/11 when Rudy Giuliani said, let's play baseball. That was a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Mets and the
I
Yankees
remember
coming
that.
back there, and I remember that because I remember the Mike Piazza home run, and I wasn't a Mets fan, but you were just a fan of the game getting back to it, and Piazza hit that home. Anyway, so yes, those special moments, sports does have that place for us, for a lot of folks, because typically, even when you lose, it's just a game, right? You're not talking about a loss in the real world, we're talking about a death, that kind of thing. So you have these moments to celebrate, and I can't wait to see. This is just, when they won. Now the team's back, and actually that obelisk right there, that is kind of where they congregate in Buenos Aires for any of these celebrations.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a video much like this today. National holiday, the whole country going crazy. And what you know what you don't see here? You know what you don't see here? Just like all sorts of insane fires and cars getting tipped and just celebrating and having fun.
Yes. It's a beacon of hope for so many families and people there. And imagine that, this, obviously, if you're Argentinian, you're a big fan of the team itself, but kids are going to remember this forever and ever and ever for the next World Cup. And who knows, many of them go on to play nationally for them and represent the country. That's a really cool thing to think about, for generations to come, what this means for them.
I'm looking for I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Video's going to be good coming out in the next coming hours.
Right.
Oh, okay. You want to see something else that's pretty spectacular?
Please. Sure.
How about we take you to Barcelona, Madrid specifically, for some really cool Christmas lights that are on display.
Wow. Look at that.
What you're looking at is Madrid, the capital there in Spain. Their lights are shining bright for the Christmas season. A lot of the city's main landmarks there are flaunting these festive lights, attracting thousands to the streets there. So tourists and locals all coming together. And that's to say something, right? Locals are being impressed by this projection of lights. It's of nativity scenes, epiphany scenes on the headquarters of Madrid City Hall, a giant Christmas tree, a dozen of different shopping options too while you're marveling at some of these lights. This is a big deal. They've made a whole tourism spectacle out of all of this.
Yeah, they're bringing them in.
I mean,
growing up in Metairie like I did, big deal when I was a kid was Al Copeland, the founder of Popeyes and Copeland's and all that. He used to do a huge display at his house in Metairie. And that was being divisive. You know, some of the neighbors loved it, some of them not so much for the nightly flow of traffic through the.
Oh my
and as
God.
I remember, at one point it got moved to a car dealership. But
car dealership?
Yeah, it used to be in a residential area.
Yeah.
A heck
That's a lot
of a
of it.
display.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. Though,
You were
man.
just telling us
Check
about
out
that.
Madrid.
Yeah.
Look at
Imagine
that.
what it takes to put on a light show like that, or
don't.
even like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just impressive.
I got a
It's
string
like
of lights at
see.
the house, and that took me a while.
You know what? With a little bit of imagination, I believe
one.
you can get like Madrid.
One string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
right.
made these wooden Christmas light decorations. They look like Christmas.
What,
lights.
you made stuff?
Yeah, and I've been working on them for
Steve!
a while.
That's cool.
So yeah, the culmination finally hung on yesterday. But I'm just
Nice.
laughing because those 6 little wooden Christmas. You know, I've been working on that for like a couple of weeks. Thinking about putting
Meanwhile,
together something like that.
Spain just kicking all of our tushies out here.
I need to rent them out.
Yeah, you do.
All right, so I got a spectacle of a different sort to show you
Okay.
guys. So this was an historic ship
Okay.
returning to Baltimore, the Inner Harbor on Monday. It's the USS Constellation. That's the last sail-only warship.
Wow.
It was built, get this, in 1854
Wow.
by the U.S. Navy. Maryland officials supported work on the Constellation, including the restoration of more than 2,600 linear feet of its oak hull planking. The 8-mile trek on the Patapsco River. I can't say I've ever heard of that.
That was confident, Steve. I like it.
Yeah, it sounded real confident.
Nailed it.
My name is Steve Capillato. Took the warship past the Francis Scott Key Bridge and historic Fort McHenry.
Wow. How epic is that to see that along the Boston Harbor?
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And
You
so
know-
that's not just a brand new thing built. That's pieces and parts of the OG that they have now refurbished.
Yeah.
That's the real. That is something, man.
I feel like I brought this up in another 9 News Now video, but
Mm-hmm.
years ago I was in the Bahamas and they were shooting one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we could see one of the boats offshore from just out on the beach.
Yeah.
And even though it was probably a replica,
Sure,
whatever, it was
right.
still, man, just seeing that out there,
Sails and the-
it took
yeah.
you back.
Right.
You know, you just you put yourself back in time seeing something like
Well,
that.
we're so used to seeing like that. I mean, Johnny literally just got off one of the biggest boats in the world. He's the cruise ships.
Yes.
Those things are out there everywhere, and you see the gigantic container ships and
Yeah.
just all that new whatever. But you see something like that, the sails, and that's exactly what you said. It just takes you back.
Yeah.
Some majesty there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to
Imagine
see.
the type of engineering it takes to restore
You
something
ever been
like
on
that.
something like that?
No, I'd be too
No,
scared to
never.
break it.
Yeah,
I'd be
right.
too scared to break something. It's like, oh, it's wobbly.
What can I
Missing
touch?
plank.
What
Ooh,
can I touch?
brace yourself.
I did sailing when I was a kid, but
Really?
not like that.
That's cool.
Clearly.
You know, a fun fact: our director of the morning show, Bobby May, he builds replicas
He
of
sure
boats.
does.
Yeah, of sailboats,
Yeah.
from little hobby models to actually life-size things he's worked on with his dad in the
big
past.
stuff.
He's the guy. Is he the guy that gets him in the bottle? You know, that super secret mystery.
How the heck did, yeah, exactly right. How's that happen?
I
mean,
would
I know
love
it's
to
little
know that.
tools. I don't even know how
I
people have
would
the
love to
patience
know
for
that.
that.
Oh,
I don't know how to
big questions that we answer on another day.
Exactly.
Oh,
Patience for the forecast. Well, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
But at least the sun will come out towards the weekend, so there's that.
Yeah, that is the good news. You know, we're not dealing with ice at least.
You're true. That's very true.
We'll
but
take
but you know, we don't want to make too much light of this. Take it seriously.
Very.
It's serious cold. It can be life-threatening cold if you were to get stuck out in it, or if you were to lose heating in your home. So make sure you're ready for it, and make sure you take care of those pipes, especially. And then, of course, the obvious things: people and pets.